We're going to factor the given polynomial given that p of k equals 0 and our k equals 1. So before we start, the fact that p of k equals 0 and k is 1, that means p of 1 equals 0. That means it's a factor. So that means x minus 1 is a factor of p of x. And so for here, what we're going to do is go ahead and use our 1 that's given as k, and write a 1 here, and then write all the coefficients of our polynomial. So that's going to be 6 minus 1 minus 7, 1, and 1. And again, we're starting with x to the power of 4 all the way down to x to the power of 0. Remember, x to the power of 0 equals 1. So this is your constant value. Now, first step is to bring down your first term, which is 6. Then you multiply 1 times 6 and put it here, and then you add. It's always multiply and add. So when you add, you're going to get 5, negative 1 plus 6. And then you multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Then you add. So negative 7 plus 5 is negative 2. Multiply, you're going to get negative 2, and add, that's negative 1. Multiply, you get negative 1, and then add, you get 0. Now what happened, this is good. If you didn't get a 0, that would mean that we did something wrong. So since we got a 0, what we're going to get from here is that we have p of x equals my factor, x minus 1 times your quotient, and then you go down 1. Since you start with x to the power of 4, it's going to be x cubed plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 1. Now we want to factor completely, so we can factor this again. So let's check negative 1. That's what I'm going to do. Check negative 1 and use the remainder theorem. So basically, if I let f of x equals 6x cubed, my quotient, 6x cubed plus 5x squared minus 2x minus 1. And basically, I'm looking at this last digit here, either 1 plus or minus 1. And if I check f of negative 1 and substitute that in here for x, 5 times negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 minus 1. Now, if I get a 0, that means it's I can make a factor out of this. So this is going to give me negative 6 plus 5 plus 2 minus 1 equals 0. So it is a factor. That means that x plus 1 is a factor. So now we're going to use synthetic division again. So we're going to put negative 1, and then you put your coefficients in order, in descending order here, as 6, 5, negative 2, and negative 1. And then we do the same procedure. Bring down your first term, that's 6. Multiply negative 1 times 6, get negative 6. Add. Multiply 1. Negative 1 times negative 1. Add. Multiply 1, and then negative 1 plus 1 is 0. So we did that right. So this is going to give you, this is your quotient here. So you're going to have f of x equals x plus 1 times your quotient 6x squared minus x minus 1. Let's squeeze that in there. All right, so now we need to know p of x. So p of x is just going to equal everything together. It's going to be your x minus 1 times your x plus 1 times your 6x squared minus x minus 1. Now it looks like we can factor this as well. So let's do that. And we don't need to do synthetic division on it because it's a trinomial. So we have 6x squared minus x minus 1. That can be factored as 2x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. Therefore, your final answer, all factored out, is p of x equals x minus 1 times x plus 1 times 2x minus 1 times 3x plus 1. And that's it. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.